Being an artist, you work with a lot of colors, and having young children at home, uh, many of the times parents ask them to draw houses and plants and trees, and that colorful abstract drawing has been denied to children. So could you please throw us some light on that, and also the meaning of every color? The mean In terms of meaning, I would like you to share about the emotions of every color, so parents and anybody who's watching it would have some understanding to understand what the abstract drawing of the child is. Though not at a technical level, maybe the child is using only blue in its drawing. If a child is using only red in its drawing, it could share some emotions. So
Yeah,
throw some light on it.
sure. I would definitely not say that a color has a one meaning only, because it could also come from a cultural perspective. So, what they have seen. But another thing we need to understand is that when we bring a child into the world, we think that we are the ones that are going to train the child in the language that you speak. So, if you are a parent and you speak a certain language, you would expect that your child is only able to communicate to you when he or she learns a little more of these words and sentences. But the universal language is something the child already has um, along with, and it's coming with. So, even before, and this is something even before humans invented something called language, this language existed. That is also, I'm again taking you back to Stone Ages. All these carvings that you see in a Egyptian structure, Indian old temples, or even in Europe, anything that you see, these carvings were the first communication that had happened between people. So people knew how to only tell others what happened or share their experiences through creativity, because knowledge and intuition were one and the same those days, and that was the first language. So another thing we need to understand is that when you think of okay, I have a bottle here, and I'm thinking I have filled up this bottle, and when a child is coming, you think it is an empty bottle, new one, and you are supposed to fill the bottle. But actually the answer is no. The child comes with some past learnings. Yeah. So the child knows how to communicate. First thing, child knows how to communicate. We need to learn the child's language. Of course, you can also share your language with your child. That is the next step. You're in the right direction. Also, communication should be two ways, not one way. If it has to be two ways, then we need to listen to the child. And how is the child talking to you? Is using hands and showing something, taking some colors and putting it on the wall, or using it on the paper. So he or she is already communicating. And there will be, you will see, if you do not, the first few months, I would say, do not give them any other precise pictures, precision, and let them try to do things on their own, because they will repeat again a geometric pattern you will find. And that tells something about he or she wanting to communicate something from his or her own knowledge. So that is actually coming in from his or her own identity, can be translated in future to her own purpose, his own purpose in life. So this is a very long journey. It's not simple colors. So let them play with it if they are playing with it, and you will see those patterns. Usually, we want to, if it is on the wall, of course, it's a dirty wall, you want to clean it up, and that is practical, fine, you're doing it. But if you can save these scribblings, you will see patterns, and you will see some geometric patterns. Just like the way we try to decode and give our own meaning to the Sri Yantra, how do we know that the child is also trying to communicate using her, colors and choices? Yeah. And of course, at times when the child is going through some troubling lifespan, also it will show some kind of aggression in the colors and the way Rather than colors, I would say that the way the hands move, because if you have watched the videos that I take of the kids also, I'm more focused on the hands and how they move. You will see that aggression no, more less in the colors, but more in the way the fingers and hands are moving. They are actually trying to emote and saying they do not like something or they love something. So they are communicating. This is going to be hard as a new parent. Of course, everybody is trying to teach you, and you are trying to follow what the doctor told me, what the nurse told me, what my mother tells me, my grandmother tells me. Of course, everybody is there to give you a gyan on how to bring up the child, but there is somebody very important trying to tell you how to bring up the child. You know who that is? That's your child. Now it's your choice. Who do you want to prioritize? It's your choice. She is telling you, I want to be taken care of in this way. She is telling you something, but you're very busy listening to these thousand peoples, and also, videos and instructions are coming in all directions now. So you're very busy on following their instructions. Unfortunately, you have not listened to what is being told. So I would say look at art from the point of view, colors from the point of view of the first language of communication with your kid. That will be nice. When you go right now, we are people living in another country. Yeah. So what do we have to do? We need to learn this language to thrive in this country. Agreed?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're asking the same of the child and saying, you came into my world, you need to learn my language, then only I will listen to you. How do you feel about
It is not
How do you feel?
acceptable.
Yeah. How do
No,
you feel when you talk in English to somebody here in we are in Denmark, and somebody says that I will not respond to you because you don't talk to me in Danish?
it just hurts you so much. You feel that they are treating you in a racistic way. You feel so low, and a lot of things happens. Yes,
Hmm. You just did that to your child, unfortunately. She
this
came into the world with the language and she's trying to communicate with you using colors or using something. Sometimes, they're physical. They use some clay or mud to show some shapes. And the right way will be to talk to them like as though you understand what they say, and try to move your head in the language, like and so that they feel that you are making an effort to learn their language. Communication always works two ways. Try that, it will work.
it is an amazing answer, because I was expecting something else from you, but I think you gave a very beautiful knowledge. I would not call it as a knowledge. I would personally call it as a wisdom, because this answer is connecting with me so much in my heart. Because a lot of times, when I speak with my Danish friends in Danish, and when I get emotional, it automatically moves to English, and the conversation just stops because they are not able to connect with that. So I have a language, they have a language. Even though we have a common language, emotions can transfer only with the same language. So I could very much resonate with this, and I have never thought it in the perspective of understanding children. I personally thank you so much for giving such a clarity on it looks like a very simple example, but it is like so huge to
Yeah.
keep all the senses, all the 16 senses open to understand what the child is telling to say. Yeah,
Yeah. The worst thing that we do, we make fun of them that they're not knowing how to say mom, dad. We want them to learn, and we make fun of them because they are not able to say it in the language the way you say. And
absolutely.
they also laugh. I think they also laugh at the foolishness they are, saying. And this miscommunication has started even at the stage where they are trying to communicate. They are, I think, as early as 2 to 3 days from the birth of a child, you can expect communication. You can expect communication. It's
Absolutely.
just that It's not in a language that I don't understand. So I will wait for you to learn my language, then we talk. And we
Yeah.
complain why the children don't listen to you.
And
Well,
we
we
also
never did
complain
the
the child
effort.
is, and we also complain the child, the newborn child especially, is always crying. I'm feeding the baby, I'm changing the diaper, I'm changing the clothes, I'm swaddling the baby, I'm doing this and that and everything possible under the sun that I could do for the child, the small baby, and still the child is crying is what we complain. And we complain all throughout our life, whether they are just born or they are toddlers or
They
even
are
when they
always,
become parents. Yeah.
yeah, they know the universal language. So they will use all sort of creativity. And we say that they use all sort of creativity to spoil the home, you know. So, but they are actually communicating. When they are in distress, they are, showing their anger, throwing things around and telling you very clearly that they are not happy with something. They don't like the food, they will throw it at you. They will show it. And of course, when it comes to the colors, now I wanted to touch base on this before I really answered the question, because there will also be in cases, of course, in terms of marriages gone wrong, dysfunctional families. Again, the child is also taking up colors to show their frustration, and the kind of shapes that they want to draw is not necessarily that it's a dysfunctional family. It also could be that because nowadays a functional family means that you all have your own mobile phones, and all four of us look at each other's mobile phones. That is functional, isn't it?
Of course.
Yeah.
A
I
very
mean,
sad truth,
just
though.
help me because I don't understand that world also. I have seen many because there is very close by, there are beaches and summertime. There is always a huge crowd coming in this area where I live. And I see families, at least 4 or 5 of them on the beach with their mobile phones and looking into their mobile phones. So you don't know what the child is also growing with. You
True.
don't know what they have seen. So maybe you think you have given him or her a functional family. You have all the resources, well to do family, no problems in the family. Let's say that it's all bliss. But what has the child been seeing? I have also seen a very good, I don't want to mention names, but then a very good family that I knew, and the child was aggressive in enough that he wanted to see blood every time. He was serious about it. And I asked why. And he felt that's the only way to thrive, to show that you are powerful. And when the opponent is feeling small, and he is about, I think he was about 7 or 8 year old when he explained this to me. And if an art form can show that, that is when he is identified or recognized. So, where has he learned it from? The parents are very simple, nice people. They have a very nice life. I don't know any red highlights or some problems in the family at least. But of course, it's coming from another dimension because this is one big dimension in our hand sitting, isn't it? So we don't know what the kids have seen. So they think of something, they assume something. I remember there was a very difficult situation during COVID. One of my known people and her family, one of the members had died, and the man had to leave to India for the final thing. And the child was not able to understand why a certain person that has been there on the mobile phone every day to talk to her is not available today.
Mm.
They try to explain the word death. And what shocked me, because, I was also somewhere down the line with the COVID restrictions. I checked my situation. We had to
Yeah,
check each other all the time.
of course.
And then
Yeah.
I went into the house to support for a few hours.
Mm.
And I did not know how to handle this question.
Mm.
She asked, show me how the person died on a mobile phone.
Mm.
Explain, unless and until you show me in a video of him dying,
Mm.
I will not trust you.
Mm. Mm.
I did not know the answer. I don't know how to explain. So the kind of world that we are living in, again coming back to the 16 petals, the senses, what are you feeding? What kind of lifestyle you're trying to give? Everybody wants to give the best to the child. Fortunately, some things might go wrong in the life, personal life. life happens and you're not able to provide all of the 16, but to the certain extent possible, see what is practically possible, even in a dysfunctional family, what is practically possible to give, and also use a very useful form, the colors and the creativity of the child as another language to communicate. Because sometimes the kid finds it really difficult to explain certain problems. I think this has also been discussed in many other podcasts that children are also the vulnerable lot of abuses. Sometimes they find it hard to put words to tell you what happened to them, and they will communicate again with their language. What is their language? Art.
Is there any reference? As you said, I clearly understand that colors have different meanings in different regions. But how do we understand that red flag? Like, say, for example, a child is always doing some round circles.
Mm-mm.
One day it is using one color, one day it is using multiple colors. As you told, maybe one day the day was very frustrated for the child. It will just hold the pencil so thick and it would, drop.
Yeah.
With with the hold of the pen or the pencil, whatever the child uses, we can understand that. But like, okay, I look at this and this seems to be a red flag. Is there something that you could share to our audience?
Okay, it is a very hard, unless and until you understand that language, it's very hard to go there also. But given that, I can try to give you a couple of examples.
Sure.
What I note more than the colors, I note how they hold the pencil or the pen or whatever equipment they are holding. The grasp itself will show kind of, can you see the nerve there, and the way they are holding it is telling that they are a little bit uncomfortable with something, or maybe it's their nature to hold it like that, to do it every day. That is fine, but you will see that there is a different kind of body language. So art comes with everything. It's not just what is there on the paper. So it comes with the body of the person painting, and the content that is being painted are not different. It's all one big yantra, time and space. Yeah. So coming back to that point of view, if you look at the body language of the child and how he or she is doing things, you will already notice that there are certain times or certain things where he or she is completely not in sync and not happy, and the repetitive things that he or she likes to do has a very strong connection to who the person is, the soul is. So it's a very strong connection. You will see patterns, and like I said, over a period of time, just like the way you do a daily exercise, that it will see an impact someday down the line. And you have a daily routine. You have a daily routine with the kid of allowing the child to play with the colors, and you will see the pattern. You will know, and also you will know when you can easily, with all these scribblings, if you have to just separate, you can make it into two blocks and say one is where he or she was happy, the other was when she was unhappy. And you will be able to see, and this is not something, and that's where it kicks in, that you use your intuitive brain more, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because you are the mother, you are the father. So I cannot be telling you every single time, or any other teacher cannot be. So you know something at that very moment, what is going on. So your intuitions will say that this art is telling something in the wrong, something is not right. Yeah. And it will also be following. So what happens on the outside also happens inside. It will either follow with digestion issues, vomiting, diarrhea, and such, or fever. You will see the pattern. Why? Because the anger, frustration is, again, I'm talking yogic language, but it's the, what do you call, the sacral, the chakra here, the navel chakra here. And immediately, because it's also a kid, a very sensitive baby, it will impact the child's eating pattern
Mm.
or something with the digestive pattern. So it will also impact there. So there will be a chain of events happening. So there is a lot of messages being thrown, only that it's not written in English for you. Unfortunately, it's not written in a language that you can understand. So the sooner you learn the child's language, you're going to be an amazing parent.
And I think more than for learning the child's language, we have to understand our own language and interpret it so it is
Uh,
easier to understand the child's language. Yeah.
Yes, it is. The more intuitive you are, the easier it will be for you to separate those behavior patterns coming through in the form of a creative language. Yeah, that's it, I would say.
Thank you so much. I think this was like all your answers are like, you know, it's a way to rewire yourself when you're stuck. Though the answer was not direct, I think more than the colors, this makes a completely different opinion from the viewers because we always think maybe if the child is using red, maybe it's tired, black, bottom. That is how we have blended colors, but nobody notices the way the child handles the paper, the pencil, and the patterns, and its body language and everything. And I think
Everything
this
is
is
one
something yeah, this
package.
is something that should be given more importance than
Importance too.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
than the
exactly.
drawing
Because
itself.
they are using, so we are using, because we are adults now, we are using, you are expecting me to answer some questions. So it's coming in English language and I am receiving that and responding in English language. But if you say, what happened? Yeah, because you're waiting for me to use the mouth to communicate. But when the child cannot talk,
Mm,
he or she is using everything to communicate with you.
mm,
So it's not just what is happening on the paper with the colors. It's the hand movement, the eye movement, everything. She uses everything to communicate. That's the like what I said. Art cannot be put inside one box. And of course, colors could mean something. I'm not disagreeing to that, but most importantly, the context is important, the context of it. If, for example, a child is, really very happy and likes, you have been showing the child a lot of red roses and it grows near your home, she will paint red. And not because it's red means aggressive or something, it's just because she saw a lot of red colors around her.
mm,
you know it could be that. So I don't want to put a frame like that, because it could be giving different signs and meanings. So look at it as a whole package. He is communicating with the whole body, all the elements, internal and external, and trying the best to communicate even from the get go of the birth of the child. The first communication is the cry. We wait for the child to cry, isn't it?
yes.
Oh, she's communicating. Okay, fine. She's fine. The
Mm,
kid is born. The kid is fine. You
mm.
wait for the first communication. Then what happened?
To just look at that.
It's not important. Then we wait. The next time you cry, you have to cry in English language or some language. Then we'll understand.
Understand. Absolutely. Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you so much, Gomati, for that. And now, coming to another wonderful question. How do people see changes in their career? I want you to share about some of the tips to overcome the fear about the thought of career shift.
okay. I am going to take you through that with my, of course, I have my book that is available on Amazon as well. It's called Change Mindset Program the Yogic Way. And this is something I built. I wouldn't say I built it, as divine intervention again, where I have used ancient tips and tricks. So I have also copied. I have, you know, given up on the thing that there is nothing that is left untouched by our ancient scriptures. So it's from there. And the first thing I would say, before even you want to use the word career, is that to identify the difference between goal versus purpose. Goal, what is your goal versus what is your purpose? And that is a very important question to ask yourself, I would say, every day. Sometimes, the goals are driven by the societal pressure, driven by what is expected out of us. Responsibilities, even if you want to change something about yourself, because of the responsibilities, there are bills to pay, there are so many things to do, then we have to prioritize and be in the position that we are in. But purpose is something that your soul is wanting to do. And more space happens between the goal and your life's purpose, it will impact either externally or internally. Externally, it could show up as, a kind of anger. You want to show out people that you're not happy, you're doing this as a big service to the world or something like that. The frustration, you throw it out, or you're very quiet, you're handling it, being, submissive to whatever is happening, but it starts hitting you internally, either, in a physical sense with a physical disease or a psychological challenge. So it is going to, throw it out of balance, throw you out of balance. That's something that's going to happen. So understanding your purpose is more important. And that is something, coming back to the core of who you are. This is a long journey. Life itself is a very long journey. And understanding your life's purpose is a very long journey. Yeah. Once you know that, and how do you do that is what I try to cover in the book in small, simple steps to help kids. And right now, this is not just for kids, it's also for adults. We have this book being taught in one of the schools as a part of their year 10 curriculum, so that, they are making important decisions in their life, what kind of career they want to go into. So goal versus purpose is one of the points that is being discussed here. The core to understand this difference is that forget about what is being given to you. It could be very good. You might be doing successfully in your career, because it doesn't mean that a person that is taking a shift is into a career is not having a good career, and that's why he or she is shifting. It could also be a place where you're saying, I am happy, but I want to experiment something new. So you could also do that. So it doesn't matter. But you need to weigh between all these societal given rules and who you are as an individual, identifying what is within. Yeah. And that is the difficult part. When you know what it is, the shift will be a natural process. Nature knows how to connect things. We think we are the only ones driving everything. You don't need to take all that burden on your head and shoulders. Only job we need to do is to identify what's your sole purpose. What is that will make you so happy? And you will be surprised how um, you know the energy shift around you to put you into that right spot with the people that will guide you, tell you how to move, take the next steps. And start with, I would definitely say, the ones that are thinking of career shift, they want to switch. Okay, they think of, going on to the LinkedIn, putting it, I am open to work. And unfortunately, I don't want to blame any social media channels. Everything is good. There are so many courses. So even before you understand your purpose, you start switching into download that course, sign up for this event, and you start doing everything. And then there's another bandwagon of things happening, definitely. And then start putting that, okay, I have got these certificates and I'm ready for this. Then you jump into another bandwagon without even giving the time and space. The first thing I would say, try to give yourself 1 hour in a week where no gadgets, nobody is telling you, if possible, if you can hide yourself, because it's very difficult nowadays to find such a place where you can be hidden for 1 whole hour, nobody can find you, and no gadget can reach you. If you can be, successful with that, that will be a great start to figure out who you are as an individual, what kind of things you like to do. Because naturally, your tendency will be that 1 hour will be very difficult for you without something. And that something is, of course, there could be some addictions because of, I'm used to mobile phones. I want to, have these people around or something like that. Try avoiding that, taking off all these veils and layers to figure out who you are. And once that is done, you will be surprised that that 1 hour will slowly switch to 2 hours. Slowly, you will find some more events that is related to that, and that will turn into 4 hours, 5 hours, maybe a weekend sport or activity. And before you know, you would have started, flowing it through to your evenings. So it's seeping from that 1 hour and to a weekend, and then slowly in the evenings. And one day you figure out that's the life I want to have. And that's when you are also in full sync. You don't have to ask this question. You will not ask because you know that it is time, and you would already know a plan B because you've already made some network, had some training, or have spent some time in that journey. So this is a safe place for me to switch. Yeah, because there are practicalities. If we have bills to pay, if we have something that we are already struggling with, we need to focus on that also. So I would say first 1 hour with yourself is a great career shift to start.
Absolutely. It was wonderful. Thank you so much for answering this question. And I think we are closer to ending our podcast. So, if you have any points to share with our audience who are predominantly parents who are thinking of living an alternative lifestyle or who have already practiced alternative education, who they are our primary audience. So,
Yeah,
if you want to share
I
anything to
I want
them,
to tell you one thing. The word alternative, you can actually comfortably remove that because that is the main form. So, unfortunately, we have been declared as alternative. And medicine is also conveniently alternative because that which doesn't produce money will be alternative. Simple. In a business world, that which doesn't produce money will be called alternative. Yeah. So even in the I'm just deviating a little bit, but I'll take 1 minute because my mother had cancer, and when the treatment was going on, we were also getting into a bandwagon of who's telling us what and how we should follow. So we all followed what others told religiously, and we ended up spending a lot around that, and we were also given some guarantee that for 10 years she'll be fine or whatever, but nothing like that happened. But somewhere towards the end, we figured out that we ended up doing things the wrong way for her, because the kind of body type that she had, challenges she had, she could have gone into what we want to call it as alternative, and it could have been um, more useful. It would have saved her life maybe for a few more years. We never know that because we never experimented it. The only thing we did was to follow the rules of whatever people told us to do. Again, coming back to the education that we had, be practical, meaning avoid creativity, avoid your intuitions, follow the knowledge. We followed all the medical reports. We followed everything that was given to us on paper by every single organization in medical industry. I don't know how to finish this sentence also. So this is exactly what we are getting to when we are saying that, because these are all businesses. These business houses are there for, and I wouldn't, we are also trying to run businesses. So I'm not saying, running business is wrong. Running businesses ethically, running businesses ethically is what is missing nowadays. So in this world, forget about the world where, alternative defines something that is out of the scope. At least forget about it momentarily and try to figure out what is right for you. That's more important. It's okay if only 10 people in the world are doing it, and we want to call it by any name that you want. But if that works for you and your child, let's be the exception. It's okay. When some rare health issue happens, when a doctor declares that your child has a very rare issue, you agree. Just because a doctor gave a paper, report that your child has a rare issue, you agree. So eh, don't wait for somebody to give you a report that this is okay. I think In your previous videos also, I saw one of the persons that were interviewed that, follow your intuitions. That's exactly what it is. It should be a balance of course we need to respect all these reports and such, but have a balance between all this with your intuitions. And this form of education is not at all alternative, because this was the roots of, at least, the Asian culture, and it was removed because it was not efficient for businesses to function. A hierarchical business will function when you have a bandwagon of people that will listen without asking questions. Now, do you want your child to join this bandwagon? Yes or no is your decision completely. This is what I
Absolutely.
wanted to say.
Yeah. I could not deny to any of the things you share, and I could be in complete acceptance to it, because that is the way we have to look things, and unfortunately we are not doing that. And it's creating a lot of chaos, and now that we are realizing that chaos, a lot of us are coming forward to take some baby steps to do good, or to do what our intuition says, along with the knowledge we have received all these years. We are not just going with a
Mm,
blind intuition, but
yeah.
it also has a lot of knowledge, a lot of emotions, and everything that is combined within has made us, you know, chosen a path or take a decision. So I think rather than always thinking about, is this right or is this wrong? What will they say? What will be his future? Or what would my child do in the future? Rather than having all those questions, if we could make a very beautiful equation of our knowledge and intuition, then I think we should go about it. And you gave brilliant examples to do that in the practical life. Thank you so much for your time. And I think next time I would read your book and we should do a book review so our audience gets to know about your book. Yeah,
That's so nice of you. Thank you, Kritika. Thank you so much. I hope they find these answers any way useful to them. Yep. There is also, unfortunately, the society, the way it is developed, a lot of things are difficult to follow, even for the parents, even if they want to. They know it, and they think they should give the space for the kid, but the society really builds up a lot of things that you don't even have the moment with your own child to have that conversation. There are too many people involved there. Unfortunately, the system is also, I'm just deviating a little bit, but I wanted to touch base on this. This was something I recently learned from another YouTuber. He is into food related challenges, and he was telling that unfortunately, all the food products in India that is produced for kids are not necessarily the best, and we don't have options. What do we do when you are actually running out of options? So that's also something. Even when it comes to baby clothing,
products.
there is always a blue and a pink, and I am, as an artist, I am totally annoyed. And you don't have a choice, you have to buy only this or that, branding the child already. Even you didn't even give a moment for the child to tell who she or he is, and you already branding with a color and so on. So please don't take it also too much that you are not able to give so much, because there is also very less space for people to do. So don't take it, as a parent, don't take it all on yourself. Follow your intuitions, and of course, whatever you're doing your best. First, say that to yourself, I would say.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Gomathi, again for your time.
Thanks. Thank you.